us. You know, earlier to go to the ground under hot sun for few days when children were not there, we were thinking it's a very daunting task. We have not gone and seen what's happening there. But when children came, all of us, we were there on the ground almost for 3 hours with so much of happiness and excitement. So this is what, you know, looking at children, we feel really happy, and that's the quality of a good teacher and passionate teacher. And all of you are. Then next question, what makes your children happy? If you can write it down quickly. What makes your children happy? What makes your students happy? Now this is over. What makes you happy? One teacher has written understanding them. Wonderful. The children are happy when they are, okay, children are, when we connect with them, very good. When they understand how much free hours, rainy days, excellent. Children are happy when they're free, rainy days, okay, holidays declared all of a sudden, especially, and appreciate them. Wonderful. Today I wanted to appreciate your children, but then I thought that, Mr. Chandrasekhar is there and we were running short of time. The way the child read out the map, it was excellent. It was amazing. I have never seen any child could read out the whole continent map. The concept was so clear. I would clap twice for the social science teacher, whoever has taught and trained that child. Rida Sheikh, right?
Yes,
Wonderful.
Rida Khan. Rida Khan.
Rida Khan, wonderful. So this is what, when they do things out of box or something extraordinary, that need to be appreciated, and when they are appreciated, they feel happy. Okay, good. So when we spend and share experience, today I was seeing your sharing of the experiences at 3 o'clock. Everybody was so thrilled and excited. After they finished, they came to my office before they would go for Diwali vacation. They were telling, everybody's face was glowing. Usually, when there is nothing much is there, all are tired and the face is low and they want to go home dragging themselves. But today they were so happy, excited, because they had so much to learn from each other by sharing. And that is what brings, sharing experience. When children share, when teachers share, they feel happy. Yes. Okay. So now I would be taking you to the slide. So actually, this is, most of them are the material from the CBSE, because it's a CBSE training, and a lot of things need to be done, as we are usually asked to complete within 1 hour, but it might get extended up to 1.5 hours or 2 hours. I hope that all of you are mentally prepared for sparing that much of time. And by the end of the session, I'm sure that you would be very, very clear about how to manage emotion, how to create environment which will bring happiness. That is the learning outcome of the session. Okay, so now I would request everybody to be ready with pen and paper. If anything you want to note down or anything you want to click a picture, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so the session is about happy classrooms. So when we talk about happy classroom, it's not about carrying just a smiling face and entering to the class and keep on smiling all the time, and starting the day with a smile. Usually people think that when we are smiling and talking to the children with a smiling face, that is called as happy classroom. It's not. Happy classroom means creating the environment where the children are concentrating, they are ready to learn, they are ready to accept, they are ready to adopt, they are ready to inquire, they are ready to have that curiosity in a comfortable manner, and they also are supported well. They feel very secured and safe inside the classroom. If all these things are there, this is called as creating the environment. If the teachers are creating this kind of environment in the classroom, you are creating a happy classroom. So it is not that wearing a smile in the face of the teacher throughout the day will able to create a happy classroom. Happy classroom means creating the right environment, right atmosphere, which is very easy, and which is very comfortable for the children to learn and to continue their learning process without getting irritated, without getting uncomfortable, without getting any kind of boringness in the class. So creating a happy classroom, what are the things why we need to have the requirement to create a happy classroom? Creating a happy classroom is a feeling. Children should be secure where children can share. When the children are, when I asked you the question, share the answer, how you feel that your children would be happy. Somebody had written that sharing the experience, they would be happy. So when they share their feelings, and same way I will tell you, it was not that when I called the children to celebrate the Children's Day, it was not alone we were feeling happy. They were so excited because after a long time they could meet their friends physically. Though they were maintaining the social distance, but it was bringing so much of happiness to them because they were emotionally, mentally able to connect with their friends, and they could talk hello, hi, all those things, what they are missing, what they are getting, all those things they could share within those few hours. That was bringing happiness to them. We are not ready to accept our students as they are. Encourage, we should be in a position to accept the students as they are. Then only we can bring happiness without having any kind of discrimination depending on their intellectual ability, depending upon their personality, depending upon their skills, without having any kind of discrimination. When we accept all the children, that brings happiness and encouraging the humor among them. Your love and care will create a happy classroom. If we are caring for the children, if we are genuine in our love towards the children, that is going to create a happy classroom. We are concerned about them. We go out of the way to find out why my child is absent in the class. We go out of the way, like somebody had written there, what makes the child happy? When they get appreciation. If you go out of the way in spite of your busy schedule and making a personal phone call and asking the child and making him, appreciating him for the smallest of the task what the child has done, and you have forgotten and you made a call and appreciated, what a recognition, what a thrill, what a excitement it would bring to the child. So this is how the teacher can bring happiness among the children. Classroom to beyond classroom. So happiness only should not be there inside the classroom. Happiness should be a happy child, a happy teacher. They are beyond the classroom. A happy teacher is a teacher who comes to the class bringing wholehearted happiness. There is a beautiful video. You all should see that video at the end. I would share it. So the video shows that the teacher comes in, park the car, and the moment the teacher parks the car and takes out the bag, she is into the dancing mode. And she goes and everyone else join, and there is so much of happiness and excitement inside the school. So a happy teacher starts her day with happiness, and because she is happy, she is positive, and she could bring that positiveness around the areas wherever she is, wherever she goes, she brings that aura of positivity and happiness. So happiness beyond the classroom. Enhance learning without threatening. So the students would be happy when the learning enhancement is going on without any kind of threatening. So here the question is, are we happy in the class? Are the teachers are happy in the class? Are the students happy in the class? It's a question. You need to reflect on that. Whatever observation you have, you need to write down one or two observation. What observation you have, whether the whole class is happy or there is one child in one corner has some issues or has some kind of problem, and he is not equally happy, he is not equally able to mix up and share and being the part of the entire classroom. So whether you have that observation, whether you have that thinking, you need to think that, because when you are in the class, you are only looking at the whole class happiness. Next is mind, body, and soul to be activated. So when you want to create a happy classroom, you need to see that happy classroom is consisted of a happy teacher and happy students. To make a happy student classroom, the mind, heart, and soul, everything need to be activated. Body, soul, and everything to be activated. And it should be activated of the teacher as well as of all the students. Everybody should not be busy in putting stamp, and teacher do not speak anything. That is usually happen whenever there is in the staff room discussion is going on. One particular child is being talk about because that particular child is not able to do well in mathematics, that particular child is not able to well in English, that particular child might have some other issue. So the topic of the staff room is that this child is not able to score good marks and this child is not having the basics. So if when we keep on putting stamp on a particular child, branding the child that the child is not capable of doing this, doing that, doing this, so then what happened? It's a general understanding. There is creation of a low esteem with that particular child. The child is not growing and understanding the ways by which he is going to be at par with the other students, because already he has lost his confidence and he is feeling low about himself, because there is always some kind of observation by the teacher which he is not liking. Maybe the teacher is not telling it, but the approach of the teacher, the way, the gesture of the teacher, the attitude of the teacher is making the child to be having some kind of pressure and some kind of low confidence. So the teacher need to be very, very careful. How do they enhance the learning of the student without branding him for any kind of wrong reason? These small things can create a better environment for learning if the teachers are careful and taking care of the small things for creating a better environment, and that better environment which is a happy environment, it is going to enhance the learning of the students. The first important thing that the teacher to be happy as a teacher, we have so much of issues, like sometimes it happens that there is some kind of misunderstanding at home, there is some kind of problems at home, because we being human being, we being professional, everybody has some other issues when we are at home, and sometimes we are not able to divide our personal life from the professional life. When we are not able to divide or demarcated the straight barrier or demarcation between our personal life and the professional life, then what happens? We carry our personal issues to school. When we carry the personal issues to the school, definitely we are not going to do justice at our workplace, because we have tension, we have some kind of baggage which is already there with us, and when we go to the class with the baggage, we are not justifying our professional role. So always the moment we enter to the school building, we being professional, we need to realize this and practice this, that we are baggageless. Whatever baggage was there at home, we have left it at home. And we are coming as empty mind, and our whole aim and purpose is to make each and every class we are allocated in the school to be the maximum to the benefit of the students, to be the most quality and effective class. How do we do that? When we carry the baggage from home and issues and irritation and problems of home to the classroom, we will definitely not able to do it. What I'm saying, it might be difficult, but then I would give you one example, small example. There is a teacher, means these real life examples are very, very beneficial so that you would be empathetic to understand. We have a teacher in our boarding section, and the name of that teacher is Hanumant Kamble. And this teacher is having a small baby, and this baby is just 8 months old. And he has a genetic problem, and this due to this genetic problem, the child has to go bone marrow transplantation. You will not believe, just 2 days back, there was a talent hunt program which was organized by the boarding school, and he was the competitor for it. And I was just sitting and watching him, that he knows that very soon the child has to undergo this surgery, and the surgery has to happen in Bangalore. And you know that what financial difficulties and what other difficulties usually the teacher faces when it comes like this, that the child has to undergo a big surgery. But you will not believe, his focus was when he was doing the work, he had no worry of the home or the pain or the trouble, whatever the child had. He was completely immersed in the conducting the program, getting involved with the students, doing his 100%. And that time I realized that how he knows that when he is with children, his 100% whole heart is there with the children. He's not carrying that worries of home to the workplace where he's working. And it was the greatest example of having the demarcation between the personal life and the professional life. So everybody has some other problem, but we don't want to spoil the day of the children by bringing our problems to the classroom. Once we have accepted, as a teacher, it is our moral duty, it is our moral responsibility that when we go to the class, we need to do justice for them, because 40 minutes of class matters a lot for them. It also could be the class of inspiration for some of the students if your class is really quality class, an effective class. So coming back to the happy teachers create happy classroom, why to become happy is so important, because unhappy teacher cannot make the class happy. So to become a happy, if you are a happy teacher, you only can create a happy environment and a happy classroom. And that only will happen when you are thinking good about everybody and all the human skills you have nurtured and imbibed within yourself. If you are a teacher, am I a happy teacher? This question you should ask to yourself, because if you're getting the answer yes, that's fine. If you're not getting the answer yes, you need to write it down, pen it down. What are the worries which is not making you to be happy? Why are you coming to the class putting your eyebrows up? That you need to find out. And then if you are finding out what is making you worrisome or tensed or stressful, then you need to plug it out and work on it. And once you work on it, then definitely you'll find out that you are a changed person. No more you are irritated, no more you are annoyed, no more you are losing your patience. So all these things you will able to work or improve if you understand where the problem lies and what is the solution for the problem. Thoughts, emotion, knowledge, skills, source of inspiration, teaching style, self-awareness, all these things need to be imbibed within the teacher to become a happy teacher. Habits of happy teachers. So what are the good habits which make a teacher happy? You all should know. Keep certain hours totally free from the school. So whenever you are going home, you could get engrossed in something which really you enjoy. For example, some people love cooking. Some people would like to go for a calm, peaceful walk. Some people would like to listen music. For example, if you ask me, the moment I open my door, I keep the music on. What is going on doesn't matter, but then I feel very relaxed the moment there is music on. So one side I keep the TV on, other side my music is on, and then I start doing my other activities, because that gives me a lot of relaxation after working so hard from morning till evening, dealing with variety of challenges, dealing with variety of things. So what makes me happy is when I go home, first thing is listening, putting the music on, and then the music is on till the time I don't go to sleep. And that is my biggest stress buster. So you need to find out what is your stress buster, whether watching TV, listening news, listening to music, writing something, or doing something else, or cooking, talking to your children, talking to your family members. So what are the things what gives you relaxation? You should practice that. Wear clothes that make you feel good when you come to work. Think of yourself as great teacher. Always we believe that having the self motivation and self talk is the biggest booster of the self confidence. We need to create and give the positive talk to ourselves, that I'm a great teacher. My head should be always up. I'm so confident. I'm so thoughtful. I'm so creative. I'm such a good team player. So all these positive talk, when you keep on giving to yourself, that is going to make you as a very, very happy and competent and confident teacher. Drive always for a friendly classroom. You are the mother, you are the nurse, you are the knowledge giver, you are the friend, you are everything to them. So if you are friendly to them and you keep talking to them always, which most of the teachers they do, then the children would be very happy, because in a stress-free environment, the children would be sitting and learning. So the lesser the stress is, the more the learning is. Import your own joy. If you are joy, I have a teacher, her name is Najima, and today she was doing a mind show. And then when she, always she is cheerful, always she is happy. She's least bothered what the world is. She has no worries, nothing is there. She makes the classroom so entertaining. She starts with, from anywhere, from nowhere, she'll create a story. And the moment she creates a story, then all the children are excited, because she would give a new name, she would create a character, and she would connect with everything, all situation, and the story is done. And this is how she create happiness among the students. Be a positive, helpful colleague to everybody. So all your friends, if we support each other, if we appreciate each other, and if we be empathetic to each other, so that also brings so much of happiness among us. Import your own joy, the well done response. Whatever is done, it's done well. That response, it's very important. Redirection response. These are the qualities of happy teachers. Ask yourself, set healthy boundaries, classroom discipline. So there should be healthy boundaries, classroom discipline. Always the teacher need to reflect. The more you reflect, the better you are. So that should be allocated time. I always tell my teachers that keep time for reflection. Always you teach less and reflect more. And the more you reflect, you understand that what are the things where you need to work upon for your improvement, because self-improvement is the biggest improvement one could do for himself or herself. Because always we are moving in the progress of change, in the in the path of competition. So if we need to be in the path of competition, then we need to be always evolving. And that evolving should be happening only through the improvement of your own characteristic, only through the improvement your personality traits, only through the improvement of your own skills. The more you are bringing improvement through the reflection, the better you are becoming a teacher and more adaptable and adored by your students and by your colleagues. Change student, change environment, change yourself. Everything is going to be done by you if you want to create a happy classroom. 10 steps to a happy place. Happiness in school is becoming a serious business as heads and teachers try to tackle both a young people's mental health crisis and a teaching crisis too. The challenges are increasing day by day. There are gadgets, there are devices, there are internet, there are many other things which the children are getting exposed at a young age, and then they're thinking and nuclear family, then parents working hours, all the parents, most of them, both of them, they keep working, so children are left. Earlier there were system and practices, joint family used to be there. If one is going to work, others are taking care of the children, and there are grandparents always to give the value education to the children. Today we find out it is nuclear family, mother is busy, father is busy, they go sometimes before the children would go to school, and they come back sometimes long after the children come back from school. They have to drive long hours to go for the work, and then to come back again they have to drive long hours, and by the time they come back they have lost all their energy. They don't have patience to talk to children. And during such kind of challenging time, the role of the teachers are increasing, and the importance of the teachers are becoming much more serious. So you are not going to only deliver what is there in the textbooks, your curriculum. You have to touch the heart and the soul of the children. You have to see to it there is values inculcated among the children. There are attributes of the teaching learning are being imbibed among the students. How are they going to become responsible? How are they going to become accountable? How are they going to become self-disciplined? So all these qualities are need to be imbibed by the school and by the teachers today, because there is no time left, and we can't even leave everything to be on the parents, thinking that okay fine, our job is done, syllabus is completed, understanding has happened, assessment has conducted, result is fantastic, but then have we prepared them for life? Are they going to survive in the journey of life? And the Sushant Singh Rathod case is the biggest of the example. Being IIT engineer, being such talented brain, but then he was lagging somewhere in life skills. He was lagging somewhere on the mental strength. So these things are becoming the realities for the teachers today, how to take care of these things of the children along with their academics. Then there is the tribal classroom. So if you want, I will just make a short explanation about it. When the human are in innately tribal and social species, we operate the best and learn the most when we feel safe. So when the children are safe, the best of the learning happen. So greet your students at the door with a smile and shake their hands. Make everyone feel welcome and that they are part of your tribe. So they are, the part of our family, and we are there for them. So one family is there at home and the bigger family is at school, and each and every child is being welcomed and adopted and appreciated by the teachers. There is no question of having any kind of discrimination on any ground or any manner. Next is mindfulness. There is growing evidence that the mindfulness intervention can help children reduce their level of stress. So when it comes to the teachers, we tell that you should have the practice of mindfulness every time, whenever you have free periods, when you have relaxed time in between, when there is free classes are there, before you take up any task, just breathe in and breathe out. It's a small exercise, but when you keep on doing it on a regular basis, you will feel that how calm you are, how much of clarity of thoughts are coming in your mind. You are not confused. You are not able to, ask different people what to do, what not to do. And when you are not able to take decision, when you are not able to remain calm, because a calm mind is a thoughtful mind. A thoughtful mind is a mind which can take right decision and can have right action. So how can you have, being teacher, a thoughtful head on your body? So whenever there is any time is there, just take a deep breath, sparing 2 minutes. And it could be in between of the classroom, or it could be inside the classroom. And you also can make these practices possible in the class and even now in the online classes, because during online classes, the rays they're getting exposed, the children they're getting exposed continuously, that also is having impact in their brain. Other day I was listening to the NDTV news, and there were a session of the psychiatrist and the mental health practitioners. It was discussion was going on, and then when they were discussing, they were giving emphasis that how the mind of the children are getting affected due to the online classes. So how do we help the students? We are not able to get rid of the online classes, but we can definitely help our children to reduce their stress. Today morning when the assembly was going on, it was not with your children, it is with our children also. Early in the morning when they're sitting in front of the laptop, they're holding their head and they're earning, and they're tired. Early in the morning they're tired. So usually what is our belief, that early in the morning children should be fresh coming to the class. So we don't find them fresh coming to the class. So what should we do? We should have this action of making them 1 minute long breath. It could be a different name which is given, that mindfulness. If they have this breathing exercise in between of each class, definitely it is going to calm down, and their learning quantity, the quantity and quality of learning also is going to improve. And even for teacher also, it would be very, very less stressful, because online classes, teachers are very much stressed. So if you have this practice of mindfulness, your stress level also would be under control. Rewire negativity bias. The human brain has an innate negativity bias. This helps keep us alive on the, in the forest also we will able to live. Ancestors who could spot danger quickly and avoid them, survive and passed on their genes. But our more mindful ancestors who stopped to admire a beautiful vistas were gobbled up by a lion. But a practice known as 3 good things can help rewire that bias and level the playing field. So what are the 3 things what the children are going to practice? One is mindfulness, and one is taking out the negativity from the mind. And then the first one is the classroom, which is welcome classroom for everybody. So these 3 things need to be born in the mind. And then the fourth one, which is again important, is learning new things is a key facet of a happy life. When we are engaged today, when I was talking to the teacher, I asked, what makes you happy? Somebody had written learning new things. So it's not only for the teachers, it's for students also. when we keep on learning new things, because the day we stop learning, that is we say that we are dead. Till the time we are alive, we need to keep on every day learning new. At least one new thing we must be learning. I always keep my teachers that you should have a journal, and in that journal you put the date of that particular day, and what new thing you have learned, you have to write it down. It's for your own reference. And they keep on doing. Even the smallest thing you have observed and you have learned, even a new word you have learned, you need to mention there. And this is how every day what you learn, you need to write it down in a journal. So it's such a, at the end of the week, if you open the journal and you find out that, okay, within this 1 week, I have learned so much. As it is, the COVID situation has made everybody to be a compulsory learner. So many new things you are learning. But along with these new things, what you are learning, if you make it a habit after the regular school start, even every day to have a small learning as a habit, as a practice, it would be making you so happy and enriching, because you are always there to give something to someone because you have learned something. So if the work is not challenging enough, we get bored, and too challenging, and we get overwhelmed. Aim for that elusive Goldilocks sweet spot and stretching your students to just beyond what they can currently do, as that is where the neuroplasticity is maximized. So what happened? No challenges. If there are no challenges are there, it becomes so, life becomes so monotonous. For example, if you'll ask me, I'll tell that when I come out from my house, I don't know what challenge I'm going to face today. But I love challenges. I keep looking forward that what is there today. The more the challenges are, more excitement are there. So similar way, we being, means we all being teachers, we can't be, when there are waves, there is excitement. If the plain, flat water is there, it has no excitement. Why people love to go to beach? People love to go to beach to sit there and watch the height and the speed of the waves. It brings excitement, and it brings so much of excitement for the children seeing the waves coming towards them. The tides they watch, they get excited. So similar way, our life, if it has no excitement, no challenges, it becomes flat. And no one wants the thing, regular, because it doesn't bring any kind of emotions. So if we want our emotion, our excitement, enthusiasm, our love, our passion, then there should be always some other challenges to be faced. So the challenges for students and challenges for the teachers, and that should be making the brain to work. Flow. When the challenge of a task is just right, when the task has clear goals, and when we are able to really focus on what it is and what we are doing, we're likely to experience flow. An optimal state of psychological being. So what is the flow? Flow is the optimal level of psychological feeling. So we are feeling so good, and when we are feeling so good, everything is going smoothly. We are not disturbed, we are not irritated, we are calm, we are able to focus, we are able to concentrate, and when we are concentrating, we are giving 100% to the children. And in the same way, the children also are taking 100%. So this is very important, that the flow to happen, we need to have certain other practices which is mandatory for all of us. Play to their strength, character strength at the core parts of ourselves that shape our personality and motivate us. Study so that when we use our strength in novel way, we are significantly happier. So I don't know how many of you have the habit of the SWOT analysis. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? So when we are aware about our strength and we play on our strength, and at the same time we make our children to play on their strength, what they are good at, appreciate them, catch them there instead of catching them where they are not good at. And then we create a kind of confidence and self-realization, and that self-realization will make the students also to work on understanding and improving. So this is very important. And then the next is practice kindness. You know, kindness brings kindness. If we are kind to our colleagues, if we are kind to our children, if we are kind to our parents, and we are empathetic towards them, so same way they would be also considerate and kind towards us. Humans are hardwired to be kind, and only thing is that sometimes we forget that kindness. If we keep that spirit of kindness alive as teachers towards the children and towards everybody, I'm sure that we would be, means all of you would be in a position to create a happy classroom. Be optimistic. Optimistic people are happier, even in the biggest of the danger or biggest of the problem. They would be looking at that small spot, which is the hope or the race. Now at this pandemic situation, there are families, there are people, there are businesses, many of them, they are giving all these excuses that we are not able to do it. We are business is lost, this is lost, that is lost, everything is lost. But there are people, those they're pessimistic, they are thinking that, oh wonderful, just now I had two students, those they came and they were sharing with me that they are ex-student, and before I would just start the session, they came to visit me. They stay nearby, and they had brought two diyas for me, beautifully packed and beautifully designed. And they said that, ma'am, during this pandemic, we have done business of around 10 to 15,000 by making diyas and taking order and selling them. So I said, wonderful, so much of learning has happened for you. And they had put it in the WhatsApp, and then I had said that, okay, fine, I will forward to others that you people are doing this handmade diyas. But I could not do that. But they had remembered that I had responded to them, and that's the reason they have come back with two diyas for me. And so kind of you, both of them, and so sweet for both of them that they have come with diyas to show them that they have done something good during this pandemic time when they're at home. So like that, if we being teachers, we would be optimistic and we would be passing on to everyone wherever you are to focus on the positive side rather than the negative side. Maybe our thought process will change, and that would be creating a better environment for you as well as for the children. Exercise. Exercise is one of the single biggest things we can do to boost our physical and mental health. Because whenever we are stressful, whenever we are having any kind of tension, usually we find that we have no time. We're so bogged up with our work, and particularly teachers, you tell them that, do you have time for exercise? They will say that, when do we exercise, because we have to go home, we have to cook food, we have to do this, we have to do that, I have no time. So we can't make the exercise. But then if you want to be an effective teacher, you need to have your exercise on a regular basis. And that's the only thing which is not only going to make you fit, but also it would be keeping you mentally fit. Your learning ability, your memory ability, your ability to think quickly, to take decision. Because after certain age, after certain time, as teachers, when you are doing so much, the chances are there you forget, or your memory goes down, or you lose interest, or you catch up with certain kind of diseases, which is very very easy. Like blood pressure is the common disease, diabetes is a common disease. I don't know what is the situation there, but in India, every next person you ask, they're diabetic. So it's so essential, because we being teachers, we need to take care of us. We need to be the role model before others. So what do we do? There should be spare time for everyone to do exercise. So you choose your way of exercise, how you eat food, how you sleep or take rest. Like that, exercise should become a compulsory practice for everyone, each one of you. It's not about students alone. Student is must because obesity or any other problem the children would get because they're continuously sitting. So even if they are sitting in the during these virtual classes also, every class after it is ended, there should be the bounded duty of the teacher to make them to stand up in front of you, even if they're attending the virtual classes. Because sometimes they don't even listen to the parents, and the only person who can influence the mind of these young kids are the teachers. So for the benefit of them, if you can make them to stand up from the get up from the chair and take a round and come back, it would be a great help for them. So same way, to have a better, happier and exciting classroom, the teachers need to have regular exercise, and they also should be practicing that the students should have better, regular exercise. Regular exercise keep the mind calm, better thinking, lesser stress, and a lot of oxygen goes into the brain. So clarity of thought comes, and clarity of thoughts helps in doing, improving your concentration. Now walk the talk. So always it happens that we feel that everything is meant for students and nothing is for us. So unless and until today morning somebody was saying that we see, we learn. So we listen, we forget. But we see, we learn. And we do, we learn 100%. So in the same way, if you keep on preaching and don't practice, then nobody is going to, respect it. So what you are preaching, what you are teaching need to be demonstrated. It need to be seen. For example, if you'll ask me, when it comes to exercise, we have a boarding school, 4 o'clock morning, I get up and I'm there on the ground. Children must have seen me walking around when they also do their jogging. So it's not that I expect them to be doing exercise, because I believe that if they want to have good immunity system, they need to sweat it out on the ground. So early morning, 5:30, they're on the ground, and they could see me also on the ground. So this is how, if we want to expect something to be done, then we need to practice it first by ourselves. And then only they're going to be, listening. If we want the happy environment to be created, whatever things we are saying, whatever things we are expecting, the same thing need to be practiced. So the first rule of a happy teacher is self-awareness. Already I have discussed about it. You should you should be knowing yourself very well. What you are good at, what you are bad at, what makes you to get angry, what makes you to get irritated, what makes you to, lose your temper in the staff room. So all those things you need to think. If I'll ask you that, remember one incident where you felt very sad in staff room, or remember one incident when you felt that you are humiliated in the staff room. So then if you will be asked to remember, then you will realize that what went wrong. Why did I feel sad on that day? It could have avoided. Why did I got irritated that day? It could have avoided. So knowing yourself is the first key for creating a happy environment. And happy environment only could be created by a happy teacher. That is the first lesson. This is domains of emotional intelligence. So what are the domains? Social awareness, self-awareness, relationship management, self-motivation, and self-regulation. So these are all connected. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, so what all aspects you need to bear in your mind? So one is self-awareness, two is self-motivation and self-regulation, walk the talk, and the third is social awareness. And then everything is connected at the center, which is called as relationship management. You should be managing your relationship with your parents, with your management, with your principal, with your coordinators, with your supervisor, with your juniors, and with your children, with your group staff also, attenders, everybody. So that is called as relationship management. So 5 ways to create a happy classroom is providing support and celebrating achievements and success of the students, which is very much essential. The smallest of the achievement of the student need to be celebrated. Teaching self-confidence, which is very important. Building positive relationship with the students, and these would be, and developing coping skills, how to cope up. There are different kind of situations are there, how to cope up with those situations. So the skills need to be taught to cope up with the skills. For example, child is getting angry at home, so then the cope up skill is take a deep breath. By the time the breathing is over, then the anger has calmed down. Drink little water. So by the time the water is gone in the body, and that has some time which has reduced the anger of the child. So in this manner, different skills need to be taught to the children to cope up with the situation or with the emotions. The life is not fair. Decisions and situations rise up and are out of our immediate control. Children can find this one of life's toughest lessons. What is in our control, however, is how we cope and react when times get tough. So, how we react and cope up now this COVID situation. How are we coping up? We are coping up. We got adjusted with the virtual classroom, learning new skills, adjusting ourselves to be more professional. Earlier, there should be noise from home, somebody talking, something happening. Now we got adjusted, creating a small studio for ourselves, bringing all the teaching aids, bringing variety of things, making the class interesting. So that is, you are coping up. Same way, how do you train the children to cope up? If children develop core strategies early, they can apply them throughout their life and adopt them to suit at any situation. If we are able to teach children to understand their emotion as well as how their body may feel and react during times of stress, they will be able to identify what they need to do, feel better. So sometimes they'll get angry, irritated. So children need to be taught in younger ages, that younger stage, when they're getting angry, how do they behave? And it would get, drilled and stored in the memory that, okay, this is what teacher has taught us, that when we are angry, we need to take a deep breath. When we are happy, we are, there are many rhymes are there through these the teaching happens in the kindergarten section. But if those things, skills, coping up skills could be taught to the children when they have different emotions, what they do when they love their mama or papa, they should hug them, they should express, they should smile, they should appreciate. These coping up skills of different emotions need to be taught to them. So if the friend is angry, so what they should do to cope up, making the friend to calm down. So teachers need to train the children in different skills to cope up with the situations. It's not a case of simply shying away from a challenge when it presents itself. It's about developing coping behavior that can help children to manage their emotion successfully. Children with a bank of coping strategies up their sleeves can do much for creating a happy classroom. So they would be, ready to create a happy classroom when they're well prepared with variety of coping up skills. So I'll just show you one small video.
happy classroom. Choose smiling teachers. It's not early. Five big projects for this course. Three steps.
Voice is not.
One
No, we'll go next. I think you are not able to hear it. Was there any problem? I don't. Will,
Sound was not there, ma'am.
yeah. Okay, but it's very clear.
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
active class, creativity, and then. So this was about active class, creativity. Then there was engaged, there were projects. There was parent share. So all those things were there. When all these things are there, then that would create a happy classroom. Next is emotional intelligence, refers to how well we handle ourselves and our relationships. Self-regulation, awareness and execution. Self-regulation of emotion. So this you can try it whenever you are free, that you can visualize an event whichever was occurred recently and where you got very emotional, and then you can write it down. Was that situation necessary or it could have avoided? Reflection. Name the first two emotions that came to your mind during the visualization. So how do you reflect? So if you visualize, okay, this was the incident happened in the staff room, and then you are thinking about why it happened. Was there my fault? Was there somebody else's fault? So you start reflecting. And when you reflect what triggered in your emotion, check the fact. Did my emotional reaction match the facts of the situation, or was it my interpretation of the situation? Then you will be able to understand clearly that whether this situation could have avoided and it could have become little better and easier. In a very real sense, we have two minds, one that thinks and the other that feels. So Daniel Goleman, according to him, we have two minds, one mind thinks and another mind feels. Understanding relationship. So how do you understand the relationship? Challenges faced in the classroom and challenges faced in the staff room. So if you understand the relationship, it would be easier for you to manage any kind of challenging situation. Did you find that the challenges are similar all about how you manage yourself and relationship? So when you face any kind of challenges in the classroom and different kind of challenge in the classroom, in the staff room. So whether the challenges are same or they are different. And if they're different, then how do you manage the relationship? How do you manage the relationship with the colleagues, with your juniors, or how do you, or superior, or how do you manage the relationship in the classroom with the students? So these are the things you need to reflect upon. Decoding the language of behavior. So how do you decode the language of behavior? Why do students misbehave? How can it be managed? So what causes misbehavior? Psychological factor, biological factor, environmental factor. Misbehavior is a type of communication. So listen and observe carefully. So if you listen to the misbehavior carefully, if you observe, then it's a kind of communication. They're angry with somebody, they're angry with their neighbor, they're angry with their friend, they're irritated with the learning, or they're not understanding. So the teacher should be very careful to understand this communication. I'll show you a beautiful video. And if let me know.
Today is my first day and I will be taking all your science subjects, so let's start off on a good note. Not that note, thank you. So let's start with a nice round of introductions. My name is Sakshi and I love working with young people.
Ma'am, my name is Anish. I was a topper last year. Ma'am, my IQ is 145 and I've got double promotion once.
My name is Andy. I like dancing.
My name is Chetan and I like to play the guitar.
Okay, everyone's done except the last roll number. Zara? Where is Zara?
Zara is a zombie.
Class, settle down. Gaurav, I'm gonna kill you.
Hi, how was your day?
Good morning, class of rowdies. You do know that's the name the rest of the school has given you, right? This month, I will not lead the class. You will. Every day, 2 students will come here and present anything that they are passionate about. There is only one rule. You must show respect. So, who is courageous enough to accept the challenge?
Ma'am, anything?
Yes, anything.
Our topic is everything you wanted to know about the birds and the bees. But are afraid to ask.
Sequined in the night sky as the stars shine, they tell a million stories, some of yours and a few of mine.
कितना है total?
16.
I'll finish fast.
Today, we both will be teaching you the secret of flight by building a rocket. That balloon over there is also a rocket, but it does not go very far as it does not have any wings to give its flight a direction. So you see, in life, it is very important to have something,
Or someone.
yes, or someone who can give you direction every time you're going astray.
It helps you go very far in life. Good morning, class. Today we have prepared a very interesting topic for the class. Today I'm going to tell you about the physics of dance. But before that, my friend here is going to give you a small demo.
Morning activity itself is wonderful.
Can I ask you something? Your class of rowdies has really changed. How did you manage it?
I haven't done anything. I just created a space where no one is judging them, where they can learn through their own interests. Hi, class. So everyone's done with their session except Zara. Zara, come on. Zara, Zara.
Every rowdy class has a voice, waiting to be heard, wanting to be understood, wishing to be loved. Thank you, ma'am, for listening to us. Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for finding the reason for our rowdiness, for giving a channel to our craziness. Thank you, ma'am, for finding the poet in a zombie, and for setting me free, for letting me be. No matter where we go and what we do, we'll always carry in our hearts a part of you. Dear ma'am, thank you.
Yeah. So next, I hope that the video is interesting and so emotional. So how the class of unhappy could be turned into class of happiness. So pleasure and well-being. Happiness is when your life fulfills your needs. Research-based definition about happiness in the field of positive psychology and happiness often define a happy person as someone who experiences frequent positive emotion. So a happy person is one who is frequently experiencing the positive emotion. Happiness is what you feel when you feel satisfied and fulfilled. Happiness is a feeling of containment, that life is just as it should be. Perfect happiness, enlightenment comes when you have all of your needs satisfied. It is different from pleasure, which is fleeting set of joyful experiences. So happiness is about a set of joyful experiences. It is a continuum, satisfaction about the past, happiness in the present, and optimism about the future. There is a formula for happiness is there, H equal to S plus C plus V. S is biological genetic set point, C is condition of life, and V is factors under voluntary control. So happiness is equal to S, it is biological or genetic set point, C condition of life, plus V factors under voluntary control. And this is the formula of happiness. Pathways to happiness: gratitude, forgiveness, optimism, empathy, and respecting diversity. If we have these things, then we are in our journey to happiness. The pathways to happiness, the tools for happiness are this. We need to be having a gratitude for so many things. We wake up in the morning, we should have gratitude towards God that we are awake, we are alive. We reach to the school, we are happy because we are going to educate so many young mind. We are having a lunch, we should be happy and thankful that so many are there not getting their food on time. So many of them, they're suffering from diseases, maybe they are not in a position to take their food. So we should be thankful for sun, for moon, for life, for everything. There are thousands of reasons are there to show our gratitude. And when we will count our time with gratitude, the small problems what we face, that would become immaterial. So that is how we need to learn how to make the children and we ourselves to show our gratitude. There are thousands of things are done by the parents for the children, but then children forget to show their gratitude towards them. So it need to be taught and practiced in the classroom as a regular ways of showing the gratitude, forgiveness, optimism, empathy, respecting diversity. Next is homeschool balance, time management, rational thought, joy of giving, and meaning in life. So if there is a balance between home and the school, time management is proper among the teachers, they are able to manage their time. There is rational thoughts always present in the mind of the teachers, and joy of giving. Many people, they draw a lot of pleasure by giving and helping. So if these practices are there, and meaning to the life is once, live to the fullest, make it the best, and have all those practices which is going to make you and help you to lead a fulfilling life. Pathways to happiness again, physical health, spirituality, meditation, and hobby. So don't forget to continue with your hobbies, whatever you have, reading, gardening, cooking, any hobbies you have, keep continuing with that. Just 5 days back, last Sunday, we had been to Mahabaleshwar because as it was introduced, I'm the president of the Kolhapur Sahodaya as well as coordinator for the all CBSE schools located in Kolhapur district. So there are around 35 schools are there under me. So we had planned for a picnic for ourselves. So when we went to, you must have heard about Mahabaleshwar, it's a hill station. You will not believe, we had a owner of a school who is the member of our Sahodaya, and she is 66 years old. And she is still working as director of a school, and the energy, the enthusiasm, we went to a resort, there were 20 bullets were kept in front of that resort. And she was the first one to run, and she sat on the bike and she said that I want to take a picture that I'm riding a bike, because now I had taken a promise that I have to learn cycle. I took 3 days to learn cycle, and now I want to learn swimming because my daughter-in-law is national swimmer. And we appreciate so much because she was so happy and such a soul that she could bring happiness wherever she was. We enjoyed so much. And then I was thinking that if a founder, a leader who is bringing so much of positive energy, and what wonderful school, the teachers, the entire environment and students must be, those their passing days under her guidance. So like that, if the hobby is there, the clean feelings are there, helpfulness is there. So definitely wherever you go, you carry that aura with you, that feeling with you, and spread it among everyone. So physical health, spirituality, meditation, and hobby, all these need to be taken care if you want to be happy. And if you are happy alone, you can create happy classroom. How can I nurture a garden of optimism? So by rejecting negative thoughts, B, C, D, E. There are many questions are there. You need to feel it, and then you come to the conclusion that how you can nurture a garden of optimism within yourself. So happiness, make it a habit. So if how I said in the beginning, how you're eating food, taking rest like that, happiness also should be a happy habit. It should be practiced, nurtured, created, and it should be becoming stronger and stronger. And then you will be making yourself that okay, it's perennial. Never ever there is a situation that any materialistic issue is making you happy one day and unhappy other day. It should be perennial, and this continuity should make you the most excellent and wonderful teacher among the students and among everywhere. Wherever you go, you carry that feeling with yourself. Strategies for a happy classroom: integration of happiness in the classroom, activities for happiness in the classroom, innovative pedagogy, and the one very important thing which is called as STOP, stop. So light self-regulation, think, pair, share, total physical response approach, storytelling approach. Integration of happiness into the classroom could be done by making the laundry list of events. So what is that laundry list of events? That a list of things what make your children happy and a list of things what make you happy. That is called as making a laundry list of things what make you happy and make your children happy. Focus on feelings in the classroom, not just on content, which is very, very important. What you are teaching, you keep focusing on the feelings along with the content. If you focus only on content, then you will be failing in creating a happy classroom. Strategies for happy classroom. So stop light, red, yellow, and green. And what it is, stop and breathe. Take a deep breath. What is the problem? What is everyone feeling? What does everyone need? What are my choices? What impact will my choice have on myself and others? Decide and do. Be resourceful, respond wisely, reflect what worked and what can, and remember for next time. Think, pair, and share. A topic will be allocated to each group. Think about points you have about the topic from pairs within the group and discuss ideas, analyze, synthesize your thoughts, and share and compare your notes back again within the group. So total physical response. So any volunteers who can come and summarize, I mean, this is the total physical response. Here is the last one video is there. So which I think I will share the link and which you can watch it later. Creating a happy classroom with a higher happiness quotient can be a reality. The only condition is that it has to begin with us. So if you want to create a happy classroom, it need to begin with the teacher. That's it about the happy classroom. Actually, if it would have taken in detail, it would have taken another hour. So at the end, I a little bit, hurry up because I know it's already 8 o'clock and you people have to do your cooking and taking care of your families. Hope that it was useful for all of you.
Yes, ma'am, certainly it was useful and we learnt inch by inch every concept of happy classroom, and this was a new topic we are supposed to implement in all our classrooms. We have decided to implement this happy classroom curriculum in the forthcoming days, that is January, February and March.
Wow, very good.
And and we are planning to implement it in a full-fledged manner from the next academic year, which is going to start from April 2021. It is a timely help made by you. Thanks to Mrs. Shashmita Moganty, that is a senior principal director of SGIS, for accepting our invitation in short notice. Just 2 days before, I made a call to her and I requested her to help us and give the suggestions and tips of how to make our classrooms happy, and to take a session for all our staff members. Immediately, without any hesitation, she has accepted. As she was saying, it is going to be 8 o'clock in India, Kolhapur. And normally her regular routine starts early in the morning by 4 o'clock, and she comes to the school by 7. Now it is going to be 8. And thank you, ma'am, for stretching your working hours and taking a pain and preparing for us and taking a session on Happy Classroom. And we'll take the liberty in futures. We may disturb you. You have to guide us in many more sections like this. We are 2,500 kilometers away from CBSE headquarters, and certainly it will take time to reach us. Recently only we got our question papers, sample question papers for the classes 10 and 12. Still we are not clear with many more things that can be discussed later also. Since you are in the hub of Maharashtra, yeah, you are running a hub of learning, and moreover you have the tinkering workshop in your school, and you will be having a more exposure related to that. We want to make use of those facilities. We want to learn those concepts. That is the whole idea. We'll discuss in detail in sometime later. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sparing your valuable time. And
Mr. Prabhakaran,
yes,
I would send the certificates for all your teachers, because it would be useful for them. I being the resource person for CBSE, so let it make it official that all those teachers, those they have attended this seminar today, webinar. So their names you can send to Maheshwari, and I will design one CBSE training certificate, and I will send it to them. So that would be record that they have done this particular attended this workshop. Okay.
Thank you.
I would be expecting a letter from your side that I have conducted this session.
Yes, okay? Ma'am, certainly. Certainly will do it.
Any help, any time, because I believe in my passion is training teachers and creating wonderful teachers for the future. So I never get tired in doing anything for teachers. So anytime you need any help from my side on any topic for workshop, I'm there. And our teachers, even I have 3 trainers, those they have done the training for Hub of Learning on capacity building and competency building, which is the new topics. So if you want, they can also conduct the session for your teachers on competency building. Okay. So
certainly,
it will be
ma'am.
a session, right?
Wish you happy, prosperous Diwali, ma'am.
Thank you, and same to you.
Bye
This
bye. Good
Diwali
night.
has given us wonderful gift. We got connected with new friends, new relationship, new connection. Everything is new. So I hope that all of you have a lot of hopes and brightness in your families, and all those wrong thoughts or anything, whatever negativism is there, let it disappear with the Diwali. Lights brings always light brings freshness. So let your mind and heart and future, everything become fresh.
Thank you.
Right? Okay. Thank you, and
Thank
good
you,
night.
ma'am. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye bye.